represent. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Committee. My name is Judy Padilla, Judypadilla, and I represent the Rocky Flats nuclear workers. For 22 years, I worked at Rocky Flats Nuclear Weapons Plant. I started in 1983 as a metallurgical operator in Building 707 in the foundry. My job consisted of hands-on work in a glove box with weapons-grade plutonium and toxic chemicals such as carbon tetrachloride and perethylene fluoride. A glove box is an enclosed, lead-shielded container with windows and 2 milled lead-lined gloves for access of the furnaces and crucibles where the pure plutonium buttons were brought to high temperatures, melted, and poured into graphite molds. The resulting ingots were then placed on a chain conveyor line for storage in an argon atmosphere vault. After the ingots had been analyzed by the labs, they were then processed into pits or triggers for the detonation of an atomic weapon. The fabrication of plutonium pits was the primary production activity at Rocky Flats and required both metallurgic and chemical processing. The processes include recycling plutonium metal into Pu dioxide, conversion of Pu dioxide to a metal in reduction furnaces, and rolling and machining the metal. Uranium and beryllium were also used in the production of pits. Working with plutonium was extremely dangerous because, aside from its toxic and carcinogenic properties, Pu metal is pyrophoric, and many fires happened on the plant site over the years. Workers at Rocky Flats had the potential to receive internal exposure to several plutonium isotopes: Pu-238, Pu-239, Pu-240, Pu-241. They're collectively called plutonium. Also, americium-241, uranium-234, uranium-238, and hundreds of carcinogens, poisons, toxic chemicals. The carcinogenic effects of plutonium have been well established in animal studies. These studies have consistently reported excesses of lung cancers, osteogenic sarcomas, primary liver carcinomas, bile duct tumors, and lymphoma in dogs. Blair and Thompson, 1974, Muggenberg, 1996, Park, 1997, and Grogan, 2001. Rocky Flats contractors to the Department of Energy were Dow Chemical from 1951 to 1975, Rockwell from 1975 to 1989, EG&G from 1990 to 1995, and Kaiser Hill from 1995 to 2005. $7 billion was spent on the cleanup, and shutdown was because of safety concerns and the end of the Cold War. In 2000, then-President Bill Clinton introduced the EEOI-CPA Act to compensate the nuclear workers who contracted cancers, mesothelioma, borreliosis, silicosis, and other job-related sicknesses due to the hazardous nature of nuclear weapons production. Over 1,800 claims were made from Rocky Flats, and most of them were denied. The convoluted and complicated methodology by which NIOSH regulators estimated and assumed the dose reconstructions were a true travesty of justice. In 2005, the DOE turned over its responsibility to the Department of Labor, and it has languished there ever since. Meanwhile, Rocky Flats workers continue to sicken and die. I have personally attended 9 funerals of co-workers in the last year. While some claims have been awarded, the whole program is vague and the process is complicated and redundant in many instances. Calls for an audit or hearing have fallen on deaf ears. Our facility is razed, gone, and so are our records. Widows who didn't know exactly what their husband's work consisted of were at a loss to prove their cases. A newspaper article by reporter Laura Frank with the Rocky Mountain News fairly outlined the problem in a series entitled Deadly Denial. There were definitely many problems at the Rocky Flats nuclear weapons facility. Not only did we, as the production workers, produce weapons of mass destruction, we were not allowed to talk about our jobs, even to our own families, because our work for the government was considered classified. The workers at Rocky Flats plant had a Q clearance, which means that we had the highest security clearance that a private citizen can hold in the United States. We had to have an extensive background check and educational qualifications beyond reproach. During the dismantling, decommissioning, and decontamination of Rocky Flats, I worked until the plant closed. I saw how the safety standards were lowered for a quick closure. The job that was supposed to take 30 years was finished in 6 years, at a huge cost savings. The rewards all went to the subcontractors to the tune of $450 million. The legacy for the nuclear workers: cancers, sickness, and death. Do I believe the Rocky Flats site is cleaned up? Do I believe Rocky Flats is a safe place to ride a bike or picnic? Would I take my grandchildren or anyone to soak up the atmosphere? Plutonium is the most deadly substance on the face of the earth. The plutonium radiation, gamma, and X-ray is invisible, it's odorless, tasteless, and has the airborne consistency of talcum powder. Carcinogenic chemicals and heavy radionuclides have tainted the ground. Many buildings underground were merely filled with earth by bulldozers and earth movers when the upper structures were imploded.